Yes, thanks very much. Thanks very much for the invitation, and good morning, everyone. I hope you had a nice evening and have already enough energy again to follow the presentation. I would like to make sort of first entrance to the topic of climate change, which will be the topic in one of the sessions afterwards, and try to give, on one hand, some insights or some ideas what's happening in this field. And the main question for us that might be interesting for discussion then is what this has to do with urban planning, with regional planning, with planning theoretical questions. So that might be, I hope, also the main topic for the discussion later on in the session. I will actually start with an introduction just to give you an idea where I come from, what's the background, so that you can see where the further things come from. Then I'll go into climate questions. I will make it a bit more concrete with the case study of Hamburg. Talk there concerning Hamburg about climate change mitigation and adaptation, what this means. Then about scenario workshops as one exemplary approach to governance in this field of climate, and to draw some conclusions. Just to give you a short idea where I come from, Hafen University, you certainly know, everybody of you know you don't, because it's quite new still. It was founded in 2006. It's a public university, quite surprising. In 2006 there was a new public university founded in Germany, but it was not really new. It was just that they took pieces out of existing universities in Hamburg, 3 pieces. They took out of a technical university, of an arts university, and of the University of Applied Sciences, and put it together in this new one. And this one is a specialized university on the built environment. All questions that deal with the built environment. That means architecture, civil engineering, urban planning, and geomatics. And we have, afterwards, started to develop a more social science part of the university, because for a university, with the idea of having an interdisciplinary framework of different faculties, a specialized university always has problems, it's too small. So we started to develop a new program on the culture of metropolis, for example, where we have appointed new professors on ethnology, on anthropology, and those questions were a bit more on the edge of normal planning, I would say, but make it broader, and we hope it will be quite interesting. We are still under construction, I would like to say, so it's a very interesting process. I myself come from the urban planning area of the university, and my research is concentrated on one hand, metropolitan questions, metropolitan regions, strategies, design, governance is quite a strong point, but also territorial cohesion, European questions. And on the other side, we have quite a strong impetus on spatial planning and climate change, both mitigation and adaptation. And I will only give you some short flashlights of projects so you get an idea. That's at first for the climate change area. This is our research group. Some projects. There's, for example, one project called Klimmzug North. That's a German-wide research initiative of the research ministry, and it deals in a very big consortium, interdisciplinary consortium with adaptation strategies for the metropolitan region of Hamburg. The metropolitan region, I will come to this later, is quite a huge area, and it deals with strategies on different levels. On the urban design level, that means a quarter or just a little district, up to city level, and also the whole metropolitan region level is concerned. There are experiments in model regions where new solutions are experienced. And it's quite strongly combined with urban spatial planning, but it's very interdisciplinary. It also goes into agriculture, that's a field, or water questions like this. On the more international level, that's in the Baltic Sea area, that's Baltica. That's a project that has similar questions dealing with adaptation in coastal regions, but in the whole Baltic area, from Finland, Estonia, Latvia to Norway, nearly the whole range of Baltic Sea states. And this project is quite applied. It's in strong dialogue structures with city councils and regions in the area. Plan Baltic is also in the Baltic Sea, and this is a junior research group. That means that's a PhD group that is, in this way, it's also an initiative from the German Research Ministry. Then on the bottom, you see the World Future Council. We are cooperating with the World Future Council, which is a sort of expert platform that was created by this man called Kriegspül, who implemented the Alternative Nobel Prize, maybe you know him. And he has created this World Future Council, and we are partners of the World Future Council in the Expert Commission on Cities and Climate Change, and that means that the Secretariat is at our unit, which is quite interesting to get these international people that are working in this group. Metroclim is also a junior research group, again PhD and postdocs, which are dealing with the question of adaptation and mitigation, how these come together, where are connections, where are also barriers or restrictions to bring these points together. Maybe also a topic we can discuss about today. Okay, that was just some insight, some ideas what we are doing in Hamburg and where my background comes from when I talk about climate change and spatial planning. When we look at the climate topic, actually the question always is, we as urban or regional planners, what are we dealing with? What is the main interest we have? There's a lot of debate on the international level about microclimate, climatical questions, how does ice mountains or the Greenland or so melt or things like this. But these are things we can hardly do anything about in urban and regional planning, actually, if we look into regions or cities. So we certainly are more interested in the mesoclimate, in this level of landscapes or counties, which are on a scale where we could look at from the regional development level, or as the microclimate, which goes into urban design, goes into detailed solutions for very exemplary but very detailed questions, like a meadow, a street, or a quarter would certainly be a bit bigger. But that's quite important to, in this field of climate discussion, to become clear where are we looking at, what's our main point. For example, in this Commission Cities and Climate Change, it's always the difficulty to find its own way for this commission. Do they deal with these Kyoto questions overall, which is high political, diplomatic aspects, but then you get hardly connection to urban and regional planning. So meso and microclimate are the levels we are mostly talking about. If we look at climate change from a more overall view, then there are some impacts that become clear or that become interesting for our work. On one hand, there are extreme events. Events that happen at one point, very concentrated, storm surges, for example. Here in the Netherlands, a very interesting topic, I would say, Hamburg also. Heavy rain events, extreme rain events, floods, river floods that come very heavily at one point, or heat waves. These are extreme events that are concentrated, but for urban regional planning, it's interesting to deal with this. How can we cope with those extreme events? What does it mean for quality of life?